What is happening, everybody? It is the live show of the TPT podcast, just getting everything set up right now. We're going to talk about the Seattle Seahawks and the Kansas City Chiefs this past Christmas Eve. The Kansas City Chiefs had the Seahawks on Christmas Eve, and my first initial thought of this game is it's not how I felt after the Houston game. I did not feel like there's no hope. The Chiefs are just playing terribly bad right now. I didn't feel like that at all. It was more, I felt like the Chiefs could have put more points on the board. The defense played well versus Seattle. But I felt like the offense could have put more points on the board because Seattle kept punting them back the ball. So I feel like the Chiefs had many opportunities to put it on Seattle. I know that there was a couple of drops from Justin Watson, but the Chiefs defense played well. The first person I want to talk about from the Chiefs defense was George Karlaftis. George Karlaftis played extremely well. He had, I think, 2 sacks, a batted pass. He was everywhere. He was everywhere for this Chiefs team. So I really like the play that George Karlaftis is playing right now. I mean, he was the 30th pick, 29th pick, and I thought maybe he'd get 3 sacks, 4 sacks maybe. I think he's at 5 right now. I'd have to double check. And he leads the league in batted passes. I think it's the water polo in him where he can get his hands up and bat passes down. But George Karlaftis is playing very well. And people don't remember what Justin Houston was like in the 2011 season. He came on very slow. And he didn't have the sacks right away, and people kind of doubted him at first. And then, boom, all of a sudden, he's getting the sacks, he's getting the batted passes, he's getting the pressure. And he's playing very well right now. He's playing very well. So I like the way George Karlaftis is playing. I even thought Frank Clark, a guy who we have not seen play the best over the last couple of years for the Chiefs, but I thought he played well on Sunday, getting after the running back, chasing down the running back. He had some pressures. I thought he played pretty well. And I thought the Chiefs defense played pretty well as a whole. I will say this, if the Chiefs defense can play like this, they will be in the Super Bowl. And that is an if. If the Chiefs defense can play like this, they will be in the Super Bowl. So we'll see how consistent this Chiefs defense can be these last 2 weeks going into the playoffs. Because the offense is going to put up points. You have Patrick Mahomes, you have Kelsey, you have those guys. But if you can get consistent play from the D-line, then that'll help those rookie corners on the backside. So we'll see. And again, it is an if. If the Chiefs defense can play like this level going into the playoffs. If you guys are watching me on TikTok, head over to YouTube. Please head over to YouTube. We are doing a live show of the TPT podcast. So if you guys are listening to me on TikTok, all you got to do is follow the link in my bio. Head over to YouTube. We have a live show of the TPT podcast. We are talking Chiefs and the Seahawks in the upcoming game versus the Denver Broncos and the AFC as a whole. And then we're going to do a Q&A at the end of the live as we see some people joining here. And make sure you drop your comments as well in the live stream, guys. And another thing I want to get to is the Chiefs defense in this last game versus the Seahawks. I thought they let DK Metcalf get behind him a couple of times. And that does concern me going into the playoffs. Can they stop a high-powered offense? Can they stop a high-powered wide receiver? Can these rookies? Trent McDuffie, we've seen Trent McDuffie. Trent McDuffie has played very, very well. So that's what we'll see where the Chiefs can fare out versus these top-tier wide receivers. I thought the O-line has played better. The only thing I really have a concern about on offense is some of the play calls. Some of the play calls are not there. And I just feel like at times that we're not like, I don't know if it's Andy Reid saving plays for the playoffs. I have no idea if it's Andy Reid saving plays or not. But it just feels like at times the Chiefs on offense are not hitting on all cylinders. They're not, they don't have all of their not necessarily weapons, but just they're not dialed in sometimes. And it's on third down and it felt like that during the Seahawks game. Like I really thought that after it was 17-3, I didn't think the Chiefs were going to score after that. And they did. Mahomes run, which we're gonna talk about Mahomes MVP season here. But Mahomes run there at the end to score that touchdown. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal play. And if it wasn't an indication from Mahomes' play this season, and when everyone said when he lost Tyreek Hill, everyone said it. Well, not everyone, but majority of the news places, Fox Sports, ESPN, all these places, that Patrick Mahomes wasn't going to be that guy. That Patrick Mahomes wasn't going to put up the numbers. They're going to struggle. They'll win 9 games. They'll win maybe 10 games. Even I had us at 11 wins. And they're almost the first in the AFC. One of the best teams in football. Patrick Mahomes playing at just as good as level as he did in 2018. And look at the rest. Look at the rest of the AFC. The Broncos just fired their head coach. The Chargers have snuck into the playoffs, but even then, they have been beat up. The Raiders have been an absolute dysfunctional mess. And I know several people that had all of those teams making the playoffs. If it doesn't show you the greatness of Patrick Mahomes and the potential he has to become one of the greatest players of all time, maybe even the GOAT. And again, he's not gonna get the Super Bowls Tom Brady has. Maybe if he gets 5, I will be shocked. But I think he could go down as the best quarterback of all time. Not the most rings, but just the best pure quarterback. And we're seeing it before our eyes. And there was a throw from Patrick Mahomes on Sunday to Travis Kelce. He had the safety, could have been the linebacker, but he had a safety on his hip. And Patrick Mahomes perfectly threw a rainbow pass in the pocket of Travis Kelce. And I remember seeing it on Twitter after the game. And I remember thinking, like, that's a phenomenal throw that when it happened, I just went, oh, wow, okay, yeah, good first down. And it kind of made me sad because I can remember when I was a kid just praying for a franchise quarterback, a guy that could just do all the throws. And it's almost like Patrick Mahomes does these things now. And some of the times it doesn't even amaze me. I just sit there and I'm just like, it's like I take it for granted the type of just player Patrick Mahomes is, the type of leader he is. I mean, again, MVS, the Green Bay Packers did not want him. No, goodbye. Juju Smith-Schuster, a team that was on a team that really needs some help on offense. You know what they said to him? Bye-bye, Juju. See you later. What did Patrick Mahomes do? Come over here, guys. Come over here to KC. I'll use you. Juju Smith-Schuster on his way for 1,000 yards. NVS has 4 or 5 touchdowns on the season. Noah Gray is doing good. You got guys like Jody Fortson. These are guys you would never even know if they weren't on the Chiefs. People wouldn't know who McCole Hardman was if he was on the Indianapolis Colts or the Chicago Bears. People would not know who he was. But because he's on the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes can elevate their play, and that shows so much about Patrick Mahomes. It's guys you would not know who they are being effective NFL players and will get second contracts in the NFL, third contracts in the NFL. So the Jalen Hurts, and I love Jalen Hurts. I am an Oklahoma Sooners fan. But we just saw Gardner Minshew throw for 333 yards and 3 touchdowns with the Dallas Cowboys, one of the best defenses in the league. They did lose, and he did throw 2 interceptions, but he still had 300-plus yards of offense versus one of the best defenses in the league. You put Gardner Minshew on the Chiefs, I don't know if he does that. And I love Andy Reid. Andy Reid can find ways to win a game with quarterbacks, and I don't think Gardner Minshew's bad. I'm not saying he is. But the most valuable quarterback, I think, is Patrick Mahomes. Because you could stick, and again, this is not a knock on Jalen Hurts, you could stick some quarterbacks in that system in Philadelphia, and they would succeed. So it is crazy to me the type of reaction this offseason people had to the AFC West and where it is now. And how people did not give the Chiefs a chance. They didn't. They really didn't. Because they lost Tyreek Hill. Patrick Mahomes has Travis Kelce, of course, a Hall of Famer, first ballot, one of the greatest tight ends of all time, but does not have a true number 1 wide receiver. And has a bottom half defense in the league, but finds a way to be in the AFC Championship game every year. So, and then that's what's crazy to me is Patrick Mahomes has one of the worst, not one of the worst, but year in, year out, a bottom half defense. There's guys like Josh Allen who have a top 5 defense every year. But Mahomes is consistently in the Super Bowl. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has had a top 15 defense. I think he had a 17th ranked defense once in his career. But he's either in the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship in his career. Beating teams like the Buffalo Bills last year with the number 1 defense. It's astonishing. We're going to take a little time out. And if you guys are watching on TikTok, head over to YouTube, guys. The link is in the bio. All you got to do is click the link in my bio, go over to YouTube. I'm going to be answering questions here in a minute. We're doing the live TPT Tuesday show today, later than usual, but we're doing a live version of it. So make sure you guys head over to YouTube. Go over to YouTube. If you guys want to talk over there. We're going to get ready to answer some questions on the YouTube channel. I do see you guys' comments. We are going to answer your guys' questions over on the YouTube side. So make sure you guys go over to YouTube. We will answer all your questions over on the YouTube side. But getting back to some of my points here. So that's why I just think the Kansas City Chiefs, if they're if their their defense, if their defense can play a little bit better, be above average, I don't think that a team in the AFC can stop them from going to the Super Bowl. If their defense makes one more play versus the Buffalo Bill in the Buffalo Bills game, they win that game this regular season, even versus Cincinnati game. And that just shows me the future of the Kansas City Chiefs team as well. This was a reload year. This was a reload year for the Kansas City Chiefs. This was a season where the Chiefs were going to reload. They weren't going to rebuild, but they were going to reload. That they were going to, build some piece around him, be a contender, but really be better than the next year. And I think they will be with these young players. I really do. So, if the Chiefs can find a way to get in the Super Bowl this year with this young team, the Chiefs' future is set up very, very well. In an AFC West that has so many question marks. The Raiders, what are they going to do at quarterback next year? Are they going to keep their head coach? The Broncos need a head coach. They have a glaring contract with Russell Wilson. Chargers, can they still stay healthy? Is their head coach the right head coach there? So I am very curious to see the future of this AFC West. And that brings me to what I want to talk about in the second half of the second segment of this show is the Broncos next week. The Chiefs have to take care of business these last two games versus the Broncos and Raiders, which I think they will. But you have the Bengals. You need to win versus the Buffalo Bills. Because, yes, the Bengals did beat the Kansas City Chiefs, but the Bengals have more losses. So they would have to win. They would have to have the Chiefs lose, and that would bump them above the Kansas City Chiefs. But I still think if the Bengals go out and play their game, they'll beat the Buffalo Bills. And the Chiefs will have the 1 seed. Chiefs will have the 1 seed. So, Bengals, if you're hearing this, we need you guys to go out there and get this win next week versus the Bills. This upcoming Monday night versus the Bills. So, they can do that. The Chiefs can lock up the 1 seed. That changes a lot in the AFC. All right, guys, here we go. I'm going to get to some of your questions. Guys, if you want me to answer any of your questions, go over to YouTube, guys. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to go over to YouTube. I'm live right now. I'll answer all your questions over on the YouTube side. That's how I'll answer all the questions. So I'll give you guys a little bit of time to go over to YouTube. Go over to the YouTube side. Don't comment over here. Go over to YouTube. Comment over there, guys. If you guys could share it as well. Go over to the YouTube guys side. Comment on there, guys. I hope to see you guys over here. I can answer all your questions over there. We got some questions over here that I can answer real quick. Didn't get to watch the game live because it wasn't being covered in my region. Got stuck watching the Vikings and Giants game, which also is it was an amazing game. It was an amazing game. My brother is a huge Vikings fan, and I watched the end of that game, so it was an amazing game. Thank you for the likes. If you guys want me to answer any of your questions, click the link in my bio. It'll take you over to my YouTube, and I can answer all your questions over there on my YouTube, guys. It's so easy. Click the link in my bio, takes you straight over to my YouTube. I appreciate the likes, everybody, Martin and everyone liking over here. But please go check me out on my YouTube, especially if you're a Chiefs fan. Here we go. So we got our question right here. Our D worries me, especially against the Bills, Chargers, Bengals. Yeah. I can see your concern, especially in a lot of people don't realize uh the Chargers in the playoffs. This is a team that I would be worried about a little bit if they're healthy with those wide receivers, man. With Mike Williams, and company, they can make some noise. Like right now, their first round matchup would be against the versus the Chargers, the Bengals. Their first round matchup would be against the Chargers. They're no slouch. They are no slouch at all. So that would be a tough matchup. They could end up making some noise in the playoffs if their secondary can hold up. A lot of inexperience in the yeah, a lot of inexperience in the secondary. Hopefully they'll be ready come playoff time. Again, guys, make sure if you're commenting, you come over here and I'll get it done. I think McDuffie will get so much better. McDuffie's great. McDuffie is a really good corner. Um, he does really good things, and it's only been playing for 5 or 6 games. We do have a question over here. Name an NBA player for an edit on TikTok. Okay, that's fun. Give me Derek Fisher. Give me Derek Fisher, man. I'll answer any of your questions over here, guys. This is the TPT podcast live show, and now we are doing the end of the stream Q&A, guys. If you guys want any of your questions answered, all you got to do is go to the YouTube. All you got to do is click the link in my bio, takes you straight to my YouTube, and press live. That easy. 2 steps. Martin, how you doing? Martin, head over to YouTube, man. Head over to YouTube. You're the man. I saw your video about your son. That was awesome. But head over to YouTube, guys. We got some more questions over here. You think we're being playing conservative the past few games? I hope we have an offense isn't being clicking that great. Yeah, I think he has been holding back the reins a little bit for the playoffs. I really do. I know that sounds dumb, but I think it's true. I think he's been holding back the last couple of weeks for the playoffs. Andy Reid, he can kind of do that sometimes. A player I did not get to talk about in the live show, so I guess we'll talk about him now in the Q&A, is Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon, 6 touchdowns in 3 games. This is a player who's been flat out balling. Shout out to my dad. He advocated the Chiefs bringing back Jerick McKinnon a lot this offseason. I was kind of up in the air. I said, I don't know if they're going to bring back Jerick McKinnon. I wanted him back. I just didn't know. And they ended up bringing him back. So, and he's played phenomenal. And he plays like he's 26, but he's 30, like 33. And again, I think it's the years of not playing and being injured, but he plays so young, like a 25-year-old. Um, so shout out to Jerick McKinnon. And I think if you look at every, excuse me, guys, if you look at every playoff run the Chiefs had, what has happened? A Chiefs running back has popped off. 2019, Damian Williams. 2020, you had Jerick McKinnon, or not Jerick McKinnon, excuse me. You had other guys in the postseason pop off. You even had Clyde at times in the postseason pop off. Every time you've had a long postseason, you've had a running back be very effective in there. So shout out to Jerick McKinnon. Martin, we got Martin commenting over here. Martin, head over to YouTube, man. Head over to YouTube. Let's see. We got some more comments over here. I also think Denver lays over this weekend. No sense injuring when they have nothing to. Yeah, I think these last 2 weeks, like usually that, midweek, if you're a team that's, only 1 to 2 wins, you'll still play your heart out. But I think Denver and the Raiders, they're kind of done. They're thinking about Fiji. They're thinking about vacation. They're kind of done. They're just done. They don't want to get injured in the offseason, have to be in the offseason and rehabbing and all that. They don't want to do that. So I think they're kind of going to lay down as well. And you could have a big, these both should be Chad Henne games. These should both be Chad Henne games where you see Chad Henne in the fourth quarter. And hopefully week 18, if everything's wrapped up, it's a Shane Buechele. And we have a late game, hopefully, because it's to be announced. And it's a Shane Buechele, Chad Henne game. Bring him back for another year. Talking about Jerick McKinnon. Yes, bring Jerick McKinnon back for another year. He's still playing like he's 25 years old. Plus, Denver just lost their head coach. Yes, Denver did just lose their head coach. CH is done losing his job. Yeah, I think Clyde's done. And I like Clyde. I don't even think they keep him on as a number 3 next year. I think they'll draft a running back later rounds. I would love for them to draft. I think it's Deuce Vaughn from Kansas State. I would love to see him drafted. Should be great. I think Mahomes gets his stats. Yeah, I think Mahomes. These are MVP games for Mahomes to go out and get 3-4 touchdowns, get over the 40 touchdown mark. I think he has 37. So if he gets 4 and 4, he could get pushed close to 50 touchdowns. So we'll see how that fares out. How you doing, Blood Knight? Thanks for joining the show. This is the live TPT podcast Tuesday show. We usually have it where we post it early on Tuesday, but we're doing a live edition today. And then if you want to listen to it after, go back and listen to the show. Now we're just doing the Q&A time. So this is where we answer all the questions. So make sure you drop all your questions. Spam the chat, guys. Spam the chat. And if you're listening on TikTok, head over to YouTube, guys. Head over to YouTube. Thank you for the subscribe. I just saw that. CH is a good running back, but I don't see him come. I wish the best for Clyde Edwards. I wish the best for Clyde. I hope Clyde can go. I would love to see him on like a team with a good running back, with a good offensive line, maybe on like the Bucks if they have a healthy offensive line. I would love to see him on a good team next year. Yeah, that would be a good pick too from the running back from Michigan. I think he's gone long before. I think he's gone long before that. We got some more questions rolling in, guys. We got a question from Blood Knight, my man Blood Knight. What's your thoughts on the Chiefs wide receiver core? the Chiefs wide receiver core has has shaped up very good this year. Um, it's not like a crazy good wide receiver core. And again, not saying I hate it on any of these players, right? I think Juju's a number 2 guy. He'll go over 1,000 yards this year. But they're playing with Patrick Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes is elevating all these guys' games. You wouldn't know who Hardman was if he played for the Colts or the Bears or um, some just mediocre team. You wouldn't know who these guys were. You wouldn't know who Justin Watson was. I barely knew who Justin Watson was. I only knew who he was because he played for the Bucs and I live in Orlando. But these guys they're in a good system. They're in a good system with Andy Reid. So, excuse me, guys. Andy Reid knows how, and again, MVS. These are guys I said earlier during the live show. MVS, nobody, the Packers didn't want him, right? No one wanted the Packers didn't want MVS. The Steelers didn't want Juju. The Bucs didn't want Justin Watson. But all these guys have found their role in Kansas City. So I like how our wide receiver core has shaped up. And I think it'll be interesting next year to see if they can bring back Juju. This wide receiver room for free agency. There's not a lot of great free agent wide receivers this upcoming year. So hopefully the Chiefs can bring him back. Let's get to more of your guys' comments here. Rolling with Mahomes. Good to see you in the chat. Make sure you're subscribed and turn on your notification bell. Who's your top 5 Chiefs players of all time? That's a great question. Love the question. So my top 5 Kansas City Chiefs players of all time. Before I answer that, I'm going to get to the TikTok. Hey, thank you for the gift, my man, NFL Mike. If you want to head over to the YouTube, we are actually talking about the AFC West. So if you want to head over to my YouTube, link in bio, would love to see you over there. Thoughts on the Chargers making the playoffs? I just talked about the Chargers on my podcast. It probably will make you smile what I said about the Chargers on my podcast. So if you want to answer any of your questions over my YouTube, I will. But I'm going to answer this top 5 rolling with Mahomes. I'll answer this Chargers question and answer some of you guys. How much for a Chiefs Mahomes jersey? If you go to the Instagram in my bio, that'll take you to Jaden's jerseys until New Year's. All NFL jerseys are $60. 100% stitched jerseys like the one behind me. All NFL jerseys are $60. Go to the link in my bio. Go to the Instagram in my bio and DM me. Subbed up. Let's go. NFL Mike is subbed up. And I'm going to answer you guys' question. Spam the chat on my YouTube. So my top 5 favorite Chiefs. My favorite Chiefs are who are your – oh, yeah, who are mine? Number 1, Jamal Charles. He was the guy I first started liking when I watched the Chiefs. Jamal Charles was the guy. Number 2, Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, just his competitive nature and just the way he's always open. So I got to go Travis Kelce. Number 2, Derek Johnson. I used to love Derek Johnson growing up. So I'll go Derek Johnson. Number 3, number 4, Mahomes. I had a Mahomes jersey. Dwayne Bowe's number 5 for sure. But Mahomes jersey. I had a Mahomes jersey his rookie year. And people made fun of me. Because nobody, not that, nobody knew who Mahomes was, but a lot of people were like, Mahomes, isn't that the backup quarterback? Like, he's not going to play. Like, Alex Smith is a Pro Bowler. And I just remember being like, watch, this kid's going to be good. And I have the jersey with the Roman numerals on the back. So not a lot of people have the ones with the Roman numerals on the back because he wore it his rookie year. And a lot of people were like, bro, and I remember my cousin, this was before I had my jersey business, he got me the jersey, and he said, are you sure this is the player you want? And I just remember going, this is the guy I want. This is the guy. He's going to be our future quarterback. And he was like, who is this guy, bro? Like, because he was just drafted, so no one watched Texas Tech. Unless you were a diehard NFL fan, you knew who Texas Tech and the quarterbacks coming out, but nobody really knew who Mahomes was and how great he was going to be. So it was funny how many people made fun of me for having a backup quarterback's jersey. So those are my top 5 favorite Chiefs of all time. Dwayne Bowe, I remember I have so many Dwayne Bowe jerseys in my closet. Him going up, mossing people, and how good he played. So Dwayne Bowe. But we're gonna get to. I don't know if my man NFL Mike is still in the chat. But we're gonna get to my man NFL Mike. I talked about the Chargers. They're gonna be pretty dangerous in the playoffs. That's a team I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to see. Like I may be just as worried about them as I would be like the Bengals, because if they're healthy, they're so similar to the Bengals. Um, I don't know if I would 100% take Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert over Joe Burrow. But it's pretty close. Like it's close. Like Justin Herbert is that good. I just don't know if he's had a healthy team. And it pains me to say that because I don't like the Chargers, but like the Chargers have a good, like if their team, if they have their 2 pass rushers and their 2 wide receivers, that's going to be a tough team to play. That's going to be a very tough team to play. Let's get to some more of your guys' questions. Excuse me. A healthy Chargers team will be hard out in the playoffs. It really will be, man. DT was my favorite. That's my dad's all-time favorite player. Derek Thomas. I watched a lot of like full-on Chiefs games from the 90s. I've watched several. I watched all the 1997 season. Every single game from the 1997 season. In the off seasons, I'll watch full Chiefs games from random years. I'll pick a year and watch all the games from that season if I can. And Derek Thomas, I feel like every game he got a sack. I wasn't sold on Mahomes until he played Denver. Yeah. Tony Gonzalez, greatest tight end of all time. Yes, Tony Gonzalez is still the go. Mine would be Tony Gonzalez, Priest Holmes, Jamal Charles, Derek Johnson, Travis Kelce. Great list. Great list. What do we got? We got to watch Mahomes, Allen, Herbert. Yes, we get to watch all those guys in the playoffs. Cincinnati. That is going to be awesome. Dwayne Bowe, Jamal Charles were the 2 players that I thought growing up. Watch growing up, but I like Tony Gonzalez personally. Tony Gonzalez, great player, great player. When did you start liking the Chiefs? My dad's from Kansas. I have a family member that played for the Chiefs, so I was born into it. I'm actually from Minnesota, but 2011, 2012 was the first season I started to watch the Chiefs. Started to get more and more into sports, more and more into football. I played basketball my whole life, so I was a big Lakers fan. But I started to watch the Chiefs, and I remember thinking, like, what is this team? Like, why am I liking this team? And it wasn't until Alex Smith and those boys were all like, all right, at least like we're a little bit better. Mahomes makes his receivers better instead of receivers making him better. Like Jamar Chase, for Burrow, Diggs, for Allen. I wouldn't say that's like a crazy thing to say. And had no hate to Josh Allen, but Josh Allen before Stephon Diggs was like, he wasn't much, man. Like he wasn't doing so great. Would Mahomes be who he is if not for being mentored by Alex Smith? Maybe not a leader. Maybe not a leader. Maybe not a leader, like, because Alex Smith, you know, he had a really good 2017 season. And he really taught him how to be a pro's pro. And you can hear it, man. Like you can tell, like most guys, like Patrick Mahomes is like, he just like, he never comes out and says like, you know, like, even has those like little jabs, like you can see from Josh Allen sometimes or Joe Burrow, like I did this, or you know, this team did this. Like all he does is credit the other team, and he's a pro's pro. And if you guys are still commenting over on YouTube, Jeremy Williams, I would love to see you over on my YouTube so I can answer all of your questions doesn't just have to be Kansas City Chiefs. Alex never got us over the hump. I mean, that is true. Alex never got us over the hump. Sometimes it wasn't his fault, man. Sometimes it wasn't his fault. I don't think it was always Alex Smith's fault in the playoffs. I think it was times where, he did the best he could, but the defense just could not get stops. They could not get stops from him. Thoughts on Tom Brady? Tom Brady is the most accomplished quarterback of all time. I don't know if he's the best quarterback talent-wise to ever play, but he's the most accomplished quarterback of all time. Welcome into the live show, guys. Again, we had the live show early on, and then now we're doing the Q&A. Have you watched the New Heights podcast with Travis Kelce's brother when they had Patrick Mahomes on the show? He talks about working with Alex Smith and everything that he taught him that season. And most guys, when you're a young guy coming in and you're the backup, they'll kind of be like, I loved, he was my starting quarterback. He was a good dude. But the way Patrick Mahomes talks about Alex Smith so highly, he talks about how, and Alex Smith, and this is why, for the people that kind of were like, Alex Smith, I hate this, and they're like, Alex Smith was, Alex Smith was such a huge part on this Chiefs team now. Why do I say that? Let's remember Brady Quinn and Brody Croyle. Oh, God, that's going way back. Brady Quinn and Matt Castle. That Chiefs team threw 8 touchdowns and 20 interceptions. That next season, and of course with the help of Andy Reid, Alex Smith was a Pro Bowler, threw 24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and over 3,500 yards. And was immediately a playoff team. Should have won that first playoff game. They were 35 to 3, and the defense couldn't hold on. And I get it, the offense too couldn't put them away, but the defense couldn't hold on. And he changed the culture of the Chiefs. They were immediate winners. How many games did Alex Smith lose in his career in Kansas City? Like 21 games? 4 games a year? He was a 12-4 quarterback every year with a suspect defense. And he had a good pass rush when he was in Kansas City, but a suspect defense with Bob Sutton as a defensive coordinator. He changed the culture of Kansas City from the equivalent of the Jets to consistent winners. He took them from what the Jets are now, or from what the Jets were and are, from what the Titans have been. Like a Ryan Tannehill, consistent winner, good running back, decent defense, playoff team. So shout out Alex Smith, man. And he didn't have, 2-14 team. He did not have to sit there and show Patrick Mahomes, how to run an Andy Reid type offense. He didn't. He could have done what Ryan Tannehill is doing right now with Malik Willis. But he said the times where he would get in the film room with Alex Smith and teach him plays, teach him how to scheme things with Andy Reid. So shout out Alex Smith. Again, guys, we're going to get out of here in about 15 minutes, but keep your comments flooding, guys. Keep your comments flooding. We're not done here on the TPT Live Podcast Tuesday show. And if you're on TikTok, head over to the YouTube side. I became a Chiefs fan in 2000 when Elvis Grbac was our quarterback. Kim Mandels was our was our running back, of course. Tony Gonzalez. Yeah, I think we also had Greg Hill. Tony Richardson was our running back. That was like a weird running back by committee year. I think they went like 8-8 or 9-7. I think they went 9-7 that year, but they didn't make the playoffs. And that next year they got Trent Green. But those were the Gunther Cunningham years. Crazy. Crazy. You watched Derek Thomas get drafted. Derek Thomas was the man, absolute game record, one of the greatest players in the history of our league. I'm gonna try to fucking find the thing here. I cannot. Priest Holmes and Sean Alexander. Yeah, great players as well. JD, if you want me to answer any of your questions, all you got to do is hit the link in my bio and we're chatting it up over here. I wasn't alive in 2000. He says, I was just born in 2000, but I was really born in like 1970, 1975. I am a 50-year-old at heart. My Chiefs knowledge goes back probably to the early 80s. And then it lightens up in the 70s and the 60s, obviously, I know. But my 90s, 2000s, 2010s, those are all the guys I know. I wish we had another DT or in Neil Smith. We'll never get DT or a Neil Smith again. If I could probably get two players in their prime, it would probably be DT and Tony Gonzalez. Give me a 2 tight end set, him and Travis Kelce out there. Woo! And a lot of people say, oh, that wouldn't work. Or Jamal Charles. Someone said you could get 5 players from the past from any Chiefs team. I'd probably go Derek Thomas, Tony Gonzalez, Jamal Charles, Will Shields, and who would I go with as a 5? Because we already have a good linebacking crew. A good cornerback. Give me like James Hastings. Willie Roaf. Yeah, give me a left tackle, Willie Roaf. Tony Gonzalez, Jamal Charles. That would be an absolute stud running back group. Ty Law, yeah, Ty Law did play for the Chiefs, but he was already old by then. If you wanted to give me because he played for the Chiefs, but like in his prime, yeah, give me Ty Law. Absolutely. Chiefs need to go after DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, I dig it. Thank you for liking the live, man. Appreciate it. Share the live. Still made a huge impact. Yeah, I think he was on the Chiefs for 3 years. Or even Patrick Surtain. He was good on the Chiefs for like 3-4 years. All right, guys, we're gonna head out here. So give me any last questions here. Spam the chat right now. There's 5 people in the chat. Spam the chat with your last questions. I mean, spam the chat with your last questions. And then I got to get out of here. Say what you want, but we miss Cheetah. Oh, I'll miss Cheetah, of course. But do we miss him statistically and wins right now? No. But if he was only on this team, oh my goodness. They would be an absolute. I think they would only maybe have 1 or 2 losses. Guys, any last questions? Any last questions before I go? I hope you guys have enjoyed this edition of the TPT podcast, the live show, the Q&A at the end of the show. We're going to do this every Tuesday, and then Friday, guys, we're going to have the TPT podcast where I record it and post it. So I will see you guys next time on the TPT podcast. We're going to try to do a post-Sunday show every Sunday. Do you think we would be where we are right now without Mahomes? Maybe if we had a guy like Deshaun Watson. I'll answer your question before you go. But also, guys, make sure you guys subscribe, like, and share. So make sure you guys do all those things subscribe, like, and share. If you guys want to go back on the early edition of this show and watch the live edition where I broke down the Seahawks game, please go do that, guys, and leave a comment section in this video. It really helps. It really does help you guys liking. There's 5 of you guys in here. If I could get this video up to 5 likes, I would appreciate you guys. I'm not asking for a lot, so I'd appreciate it, guys. But I will see you guys on Friday. We may have a midweek video from my man Colt. So we'll see you guys next time on the TPT podcast.